We've got a nice April day going, second week in April, so plenty of time yet to cut back some of your shrubs if they've gotten overgrown or starting to show some dieback. And on this Summer Wine Ninebark, that's exactly what's happening. We've got tissue from last year. Some of these woody canes from about 3 years ago, there's no longer any growth on them, so it's really just destroying the look of the shrub. So compared to, this side of the shrub still showing really nice, fresh, good tip growth. But just the same, we're going to cut this back to about the same level we did 3 years ago, and you're going to see how quickly and nice a ninebark can respond once we break into summer and get some heat. It's just a fantastic shrub to rejuvenate and get back to some of that really fresh color and the leaf growth that we're after in a purple leaf ninebark. Once again, for most, rejuvenation or loppers is the tool of choice, where we'll get 90% of it done that way, and then we'll break into the hand pruners and eventually the head shears. So this is going to create, again, quite a bit of brush. Doesn't take all that long to cut it back once you get going. So let's go ahead and let's get started. If you look a little bit closer inside here, one of the reasons I put these 4 summer wines in this area was to cover up that wellhead. I didn't like the appearance of it. It's kind of one of the main focal points as you walk around into the back of our yard. So this has done a really nice job of just creating that screen right around the corner here. There are a couple other options available to you rather than going full-scale rejuvenation. Once you've noticed that tip dieback last summer and you know you got to do something or want to do something, you can come through, just do a light head shearing. It may not completely take care of your problem, but it probably will stimulate that extra growth and it'll overcome the dead tissue. The other option, you could just leave it if you wanted to have that height, and once you leaf out in the spring, you could just come back through inside and just prune out those dead canes where you've noticed the growth is no longer performing. So that's probably the simplest option. Let it leaf out in the spring, just prune back the damaging. I happen to like the rejuvenation. The main reason, I like the natural form of a shrub. Anytime you kind of just shear a little bit of it, you're going to get this big, overgrown, stubby looking thing. Rejuvenation, we're going to get that beautiful fountain growth that a Summer Wine Ninebark has. So we're getting back to that natural form. So a quick summary, once you finish with the loppers, you got the big ones. I'll usually come back in with the pruners, take a few of the smaller ones that are left. And then we're going to finish up with the head shears. Again, I've mentioned before, the more comfortable level, I use them upside down to start on the sides. And then we'll flip back and forth depending on the angle that's most comfortable. All right, got the branches cleaned up, and that's not too bad of a pile. Nice thing about ninebarks is they tend to have a bit of an upright habit, so the brush kind of is straight up. You get into something more gnarly, like that bloomerang lilac video, take a look at that. You've got wide branching, and that brush pile is huge. So if you're doing something like this as a side hustle, you really got to factor in some time for how much cleanup goes into the equation. In fact, cleanup can sometimes take longer than the shrub pruning itself, and you learn that the hard way when I used to do that as a service. So let's take a look at some final cuts we'll make with the loppers here. If you take a look closely here, it's just a little bit lopsided. One of the reasons for that, it's being shaded from the other shrub, so this one's leaning towards that sunlight, right? So we're going to take out some of these canes right here just to make it a little bit more symmetrical. Doesn't have to be every one, maybe every other. Big one. on. There, see how that just comes back into a little bit more rounded. And that new growth, I tell you something, that new growth, once that takes off, that's going to cover up a lot of this ugliness. So that brings up the question, is there still a lot of dead growth in here? Yes. Yes, there is. 9barks are notorious for getting dead growth, and quite honestly, this has been here for 10 years now. I can guarantee you what's going to happen. I've only cut it back twice now. I've cut it back twice. What's going to happen is we are going to start getting more and more of the big dead canes are just going to go out and they're going to die. So the next time this happens, we're going to be bringing this thing down to probably, around that 6-inch mark, all the way back, and let it just really refresh and come out of that. Anytime you get that shading from a large shrub like this, you can tell almost exactly where we're getting no sun. This North Pole arborvitae is starting to just get shaded out. One of the other reasons I like to keep these cut back a little bit every once in a while, it gives it a little bit of extra sun. If you let a Summer Wine Ninebark like this just get massive and you never touch them, you're going to kill off half of this undergrowth, and it's never coming back. But by giving it sun once in a while, we're going to keep it where, it's not sticking out like a sore thumb anyway. Okay, that wraps up our rejuvenation for the Summer Wine Ninebark. Our Physocarpus opulifolius, that's the Latin name, great Latin name, one of my favorites. I don't know where they come up with them. So hope you enjoyed this video. We are going to be getting a snowstorm this week, about 15 to 18 inches. So I'm glad I got this project done.